brushing. And I'm just going to be taking a little bit on the brush and blending out all of the concealer. And having a little foundation on your brush will kind of help that concealer blend. It won't be so blotchy on the face. I actually really like the sounds of brushes, and I feel like that was my kind of introduction to ASMR on YouTube, because a lot of the videos that I started watching were mic brushing or makeup videos. And you can kind of already see how it looks natural but a lot less red. And now I'm just blending out, blending out the concealer. And I'm just using the same brush. Usually I like to use a smaller concealer brush, but since the look today is not too serious, I'm fine with using a regular foundation brush. So my redness has gone way down since I have face makeup on, obviously, but I feel like I could get a more poreless finish if I put a powder on top. So I'm going to be using the MAC Studio Fix Powder Foundation. This is a little pricey, but it's my holy grail. I could not live without this powder foundation. It covers so quickly, and it lasts a really long time. I think I've had this for about 6 months. The trick to making sure that your powder foundation gives you as much coverage as possible is to have a foundation brush like this that's really densely packed with the bristles. I'm using the color NW18. And I concentrate the powder on my areas I want to cover first. I am such a slut for Real Techniques brushes. I think they're such amazing quality for the price. I never experience the hairs shedding, and I never experience the actual handle detaching from the bristles, which I've experienced with Morphe brushes, unfortunately. Do you see how that looks like a little more perfected now that the powder's on? I love that. Love that. Okay, let's get into the blush and bronzer products. I always use the Too Faced Chocolate Soleil bronzer. I've been using it since high school, and this is the House Labs blush. This is in the shade Dragon Fruit Days, and I feel like the clean girl aesthetic is always into like these cool tone blushes. Is that just me? This is a random contour brush that I got from an old Ipsy box or something like that, some subscription box. And I try to avoid the swiping motions because I feel like when you swipe a product, you're like lifting up the foundation underneath. And we worked so hard to get full coverage, so I'm just kind of stamping this into place instead. And because of my face shape, I also like to go a little lower onto the cheek to just kind of cut the cheek a little bit, since I have a more round and full face. I even drag the bronzer down a little bit, which I know some makeup artists might not agree with, because you're always trying to lift and snatch the face, but I don't know, I disagree for my face shape. This blush is super pigmented, so I only tap into the blush like once or twice. aesthetic or more like dewy, natural days for sure. When it comes to brows, I like to keep my brows on the more like bold slash carved out side. I'm into the 2016 brow. I think that looks good on me, but I'll try to do them a little more fluffier for the sake of this video. This is the Precision My Brow Pencil from Benefit. I use the shade 4, and I'm using the spoolie end of the brow pencil to brush them up and get a more clear view of what I'm working with. And I like to kind of rest my palm on my chin for a little bit of balance or stability, I guess. And start with a line at the front of the brow. I've always liked a more like pronounced structure at the front of the brow. I think it just makes a big difference in making your brows look more full. And I also like to start my brows a little further in than they naturally do. And see how I make like a hair stroke in the front. And then, because this looks a little more natural, I'm using a really, really light hand to softly fill in the bottom of the brow. And I'm just brushing through each time I make the strokes to kind of lighten them up a little bit. And I always try to elongate the tail of my brow. I think I'm fine with that. Is it the best brow ever? No. But it is what it is. Does anyone else feel like the clean girl aesthetic thing is kind of not really trending anymore? I feel like heavier makeup is gonna come back again, and people are gonna have more fun with eyeshadow and full coverage again. I hope that comes back because I have never been into the natural look. It's just not fun for me. Like, I'm either all in or nothing. I will wear a bare face, or I'm gonna put on my regular routine. I'm not gonna do a little concealer and chapstick. Alright, to make these a little more fluffy, I'm using the Fluff Up Brow Wax from Benefit. Can you hear my dog smacking? He's smacking his lips in the background. Okay. Oh, that's a nice sound. I'm starting at the front of the brow and just getting that product in between all of the hairs, and the direction that I'm going always is up and out. Did y'all watch Love is Blind? Love is Blind season 5, because Stacey was getting red for her brows on TikTok. Could you imagine if that was you and everyone was making fun of your brows? I would be so hurt. So for eyeshadow, we're actually using the same bronzer that we used for the cheeks, and all I'm doing is running this through my crease because I just want a little bit of dimension, and I don't want like a full-blown shadow look, you know? I just want something that kind of gives me that cat eye shape. So I'm just gonna be using this on my lid and nothing else, just to define the crease. really subtle highlight, and I'm also dabbing a little bit in my inner corner, and it is really sparkly and it's not exactly natural, but because it's so sparkly, it kind of gives off that like wet look, which I really like. I'm also going to be putting just a little on my cheeks. Not too much because I don't want that like blinding highlight look. To dry my setting spray, I always grab whatever miscellaneous item is around me. Today that happened to be this really old eyelash set from Amazon that I got, and I have a little square that I cut out of it when I was traveling. So we're gonna use this to fan our face. Sometimes to dry my face, I'll use an eyeshadow palette, a magazine, money. There's nothing more clean girl aesthetic than taking your dirty ass curler that you've had since 7th grade and curling your lashes. Curling your lashes. This is from L'Oreal. It's the Lash Paradise Primer, and I honestly think that this works really well. My friend actually recommended that I use this, and I didn't believe that it actually worked, but it really does, and I think I'll be repurchasing. And the trick with this primer is to not let it set for too long. Like right after I swipe this through the lashes, I go in with the mascara right afterwards, because I feel like if you wait too long, then your mascara gets clumpy. And the mascara I am using today is the MAC Extended Play, and the Asian girls know how nice it is to have this super skinny wand that doesn't touch your eyelids, because the really thick mascara wands always get all over my eyelid. It's so frustrating. But I honestly haven't found a mascara that I'm in love with. I feel like all mascaras I try always bleed onto my lower lash line or smudge and smear everywhere. I don't really like mascara in general. That's why I wear false lashes so much. They're just so much more reliable, in my opinion. I used to love the ASMR trigger bling. Blink, blink, blink. I'm taking a really subtle half or third lash for the outer corner, and I put some glue on the bottom of it, and I like to wait for it to dry as long as possible. I feel like the trick with eyelash glue is waiting as long as you can before putting it on, because it always sticks better like that. Maybe I'm just sensitive, but I feel like the clean girl aesthetic trend wasn't really trying to include people with like skin conditions, eczema, acne, whatever it may be, because I feel like it's really minimal with the kind of makeup application portion, obviously. Like, it's not really big on Kiki full coverage makeup, but if you show acne or have acne showing, I don't know if anyone would consider that typically like clean girl aesthetic. It's such a silly trend to me. For a more natural look, I actually put the lash underneath because I think it looks more natural. But if you don't feel comfortable doing this, then just put it on the top of Beauty at the moment, and it looks a little crazy at first, but I'm going to blend it out. Taking the MAC Studio Fix powder again, and just lightly going over that line I just created to soften it and highlight that fat pocket. Under the eye, I'm taking a really subtle shimmer shade. This is in the Naked Honey palette. And I'm going to be placing it right above that little contour I just made. And what this is doing is accentuating that little fat pocket right under your eye to get a more like doe-eyed effect, and it kind of brightens up the eyes. I know that this look isn't for everybody, but I think that it's really cute. This is my favorite nude lip pencil, clearly because it is down to a nub, and this is the NYX waterproof lip pencil in Nude Truffle. And I always like to overline my lips a little bit at the very top of my lip and the very bottom of my lip. I kind of let the product fade into the outer corners of the mouth because I think it looks a little more natural if you don't put a lot of product on the corners. I'm just taking my pinky finger and blending that line out. This is the Laneige lip mask. And I'm putting a little bit on my lips since they're a little crusty and dusty. And on top, I'm going to be using the Dior Lip Glow. And this is more of like a balm texture.